So, to start us off this week, fellas, we are going to talk about Miss Teyana Taylor, my girl. I mean, I actually like Teyana Taylor from like Google Me Baby times, okay? Like I just thought she was creative, you know. I like her creative spirit. But so recently Miss Taylor was named by Maxim magazine the sexiest woman alive. And that has been controversial for a few different reasons. But to get into it, our official question of the day is: should Teyana Taylor, being the first Black woman named Sexiest Woman Alive by Maxim, be considered white validation? So I'm going to go ahead and throw this to my guy, PAT. What say you, sir?
Yeah, so here we are in the year 2021, and we're hearing about the quote, the first Black woman to be named Sexiest Woman Alive. Okay, so Miss Taylor has been given this
by
title,
Maxim, anyway.
Right, by Maxim, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right, by Maxim. So Miss Taylor has been given this title by Maxim. Now, Maxim is one of the major white-owned magazines out there. The majority of their audience is men, especially men from ages 18 to 49. It's another one of those magazines that basically focuses on women, cars, sports, fitness, entertainment, drinking, etc. So this magazine finally decided to have a Black woman be the, quote, sexiest woman alive. Now, folks, this magazine started back in 1995. And all of a sudden, in 2021, they've discovered how sexy Black women truly are. I mean, look, this is in no way trying to throw shade or take anything away from Teyana Taylor. I mean, I think this is a good look for her. I'm glad to see that she was recognized. However, the realist in me sees that this is more white validation.
Well, of
And when I
course.
talk white validation, I'm saying white validation in terms of some type of legitimacy being bestowed upon a Black person or persons by an established white entity. Now, the thing is, folks, Black women been sexy. Like, let's just put that out there.
I agree.
Black women been sexy. So
yes,
Black women don't need that validated by some magazine.
They
Some
really
of these
don't.
some of these magazines have spent decades making Eurocentric beauty the gold standard.
That's true.
Now, while there is beauty in women of all races, we need to know that Black women have always been beautiful. The Black woman is the original woman of the planet, so they've been beautiful. They've been sexy.
I agree.
However, growing up in a global system of racism, the Black woman has constantly been told that she is less than, constantly told that she doesn't match up to the white woman, constantly told that she isn't as desired as women of other races and ethnic groups. And all of this is precipitated and undergirded by a consistently massive media campaign to diminish Black women. So my thing is, when these white establishments finally decide to recognize a Black person, it further communicates this idea that Black people are in last place in society. Basically, what it sounds like is you're not official unless you are recognized by a major white company or institution. Quote unquote, the first Black woman to be the sexiest woman alive sounds good on the surface. But I mean, really, when you peel back the layers, you can still see racist machinations at work. We're talking about a magazine that started over 2 decades ago, placing a Black woman in the quote unquote sexiest woman alive slot. Now, I know people out there may ask me what the solution is. Well, the solution is simple. First and foremost, Black people, and in this case, Black women, need to embrace their beauty and the skin that they're in. And second, we should realize that we don't actually need white validation for some type of legitimacy. We can affirm that ourselves. And third, we need to have our own Black-owned companies and institutions that celebrate us unapologetically. That's pretty much my thoughts on the matter. But, you know, I mean, I'm sure you guys already know how I feel. But yeah, that's pretty much how I look at it. You know, it's just it's really just more white validation going on. And, you know, at the end of the day, we don't need that. Black men don't need that. Black women don't need that. So, yeah, it's a good look from a surface level. It's a good look for Miss Taylor. And I'm not trying to take anything away from her. It's a good look for her. And I understand that she's happy. I read the article. I read her response. That's cool. No shade. No shade at all. But we got to peel back the layers on this. You know, we just got to peel back the layers. That's just how I look at it.
That was very well said, sir. Very well said. And I definitely appreciate your feedback on that one. E-Man, if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and go next.
No problem.
And I think for me, this is very simple. I don't have very many talking points on it because I think if you think about the specific question, which is, should Teyana Taylor, being the first Black woman named Sexiest Woman Alive by Maxim, be considered white validation? My answer is yes, but there are more levels to it. Yes, it is considered white validation because for the first time in all of these years that magazine has been out, and I'm sorry, I don't know that number for sure, for 2021 to be the first year that a Black woman is on the cover, as if there haven't been beautiful Black women all this time before, in the wake of the Black Lives Matter movement and Breonna Taylor and etc. Yeah, it feels like you waited until it was a perfect climate to do it from that standpoint. But the other side of it for me is that there's nothing wrong with celebrating victories, because the point is that her being on the cover should not be the end all be all of the Black community. And we're just like, yes, we finally made it because she's on the cover. But there is nothing wrong with celebrating victories. I mean, I'm not saying we don't have to invite the CEO of Maxim to the cookout, right? Like, I'm not saying, oh my God, they changed the face of
cookouts.
Oh my God, that I'm gonna invite someone for any fucking thing drives me crazy. But like, I'm not saying I'm not saying we have to invite the CEO of Maxim to the cookout. Not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is, regardless of whether it's Maxim or any other magazine, whenever a Black person is winning, it's a win. And for all of the years that we were oppressed and could not reach these wins, there's nothing wrong with celebrating that. And I think that Black people have this tendency to think the world is just white or Black, pun intended. And the reality of it is there's gray area. And that gray area for me is that there's nothing wrong with celebrating a win as opposed to becoming immersed in the struggle. Because you can still be about making change, about recognizing the struggles that we do face and being the difference that you want to see and celebrate the wins along the way. In fact, my theory is that the moment that you stop celebrating the wins, you become like the very oppressors themselves, which defeats the purpose. I mean, look at voting. Voting back in the day did not change systemic racism. We're still facing systemic racism today as we speak. But voting was something we could not do. We didn't have a voice in the past. Our concerns or our wants for our communities were not even a consideration. So even though voting didn't change the face of the struggles that we're still going through in today's days and time, to not celebrate the landmark is insane to me. So I think that as a community, we have to learn to come out of the black and white. Yes, there is black and white when it comes to whether something is racist or not. But at the same time, if it weren't for all of these little victories that we've achieved, who's to say that they weren't catalysts for the bigger ones? Who's to say that those little victories didn't inspire our Malcolm X's and etc. of the world? It's not enough to recognize the struggle without recognizing accomplishments. I'm not saying go crazy. I'm not saying we should throw a fucking parade for Maxim. But I'm saying, what's the harm in celebrating that accomplishment when 50 years ago there was not a Black woman there? We should not change our way of life because of it, but it's an accomplishment nonetheless. And those are my thoughts on it. E-Man, what say you, sir, to wrap us up on this?
Okay, so since I'm wrapping up, you know me, I always gotta go out with a bang. But so before I start saying anything, so I found out today is no panties day. So all those lucky goddesses,
Oh,
make sure, like I said, I've been trying to see if I ran for president, I told everyone my campaign would be no bras, no panties for 2021 and beyond. That is my goal. That will always be my goal. All I'm saying, just free up everything. So I just found out today was a very good lucky day. So y'all go out there, no panties, and enjoy yourselves and whatnot.
Lord have mercy. Let me find out. We got to do multiple disclaimers.
Now I've never heard of this woman before. So that's just,
Teyana Taylor?
Yeah, I never heard of her before. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not. I tell people I am not social media movement wise. Like, I don't know everyone's name until like someone tells me like, yo, who's this person or that person? Like, I would need to like follow many backstories on these people so I know who I'm talking about. But first things first, like when it comes to the thing called validation, validation is always seek because we always need an answer. We always need a yes or a no behind something so that, so we know that what we're doing is good and what we're doing is bad. So this magazine has been out since like 95. So it's been out for like, 2 decades, like PAT stated. And, this is like their first time putting, a Black woman on their cover. I'm like, if it took you 25 years to figure that one out, I mean, I don't know what else to say and whatnot. I mean, it seems like it's a general magazine, like anything, If we take it down to many magazines, we can even place Playboy. I mean, Jet was basically the Black magazine, but other different magazines, I can probably tell you that, they probably had, a Black woman on. I'm not doing it by research, but I'm just quoting to what I'm feeling that, towards that they probably done it before them because I didn't really see it as a huge like issue, but it's just very sad. It's extremely sad. It really is. I blame not I don't blame her and whatnot. I just felt that they were in a situation where she was pick and choosing to go out by this. Do I feel like it's a win? Somewhat. Am I happy about it? It's okay, you know. But just remember what I keep telling everyone: these are their institutions. So when
Exactly.
we, so when we go do something from them, that means basically we're getting a seat at the table. So they're allowing us to come into their table, you
Yep.
know, and because of that, we only get the breadcrumbs, like a little bits and pieces of it. And that's the thing that we need to understand. So Maxim's going to do what they want to do. They're not going to change what they're doing and whatnot. You know, you know. Just this young lady was basically selected to fit a mold so they can clear up their validation. So why? So that we won't have people like us saying, well, you're racist, you're discriminate, you're biased, you're this, you're that, you're feminist. You can take it all the way down to the list. Because now in 2021, that's the big fight thing. Because a few years ago, it was the whole Me Too movement and everything like that. And we're just gonna like keep moving down the line with all this. So all I'm just saying is that is it white validation? Well, of course it is, but it's going to keep getting worse if we got to keep counting small things being a part of their institutions. Because remember, their institutions circulate their dollars, and majority of us help them out with that. For us to pull this off, we got to make sure we circulate our dollars so we don't have to depend on them. You know.
Mm-hmm.
That's that's
Yep.
that's the big thing. Because Maxim's still going to be out there. Because Breonna Taylor's the first one. There's going to be another one, and another one. And that's what they're all going to do. Why? So they can keep people like us off their backs and whatnot. So the big argument, I can't say that they're doing racial things and they're being discriminate. They'd be like, well, what are you talking about? Breonna Taylor was on like the cover of Maxim and whatnot. Doesn't that count? So now we're picking and choosing. So all I'm just saying is that these are the cool tricks that they have to play just so that people like us don't have to, I wouldn't say don't have to say anything, but when we say anything, that's the backlash behind it, that we did anything. And because you can't say anything, you need to shut up. And that's what they use to make sure they put us in our place per se. And that's all I'm going to say. I mean, I can go on and on about this, but Maxim is just as the same cycle how Playboy played it as a magazine. You can name all different other magazines. They all done the same thing. It hasn't changed at all. So I mean, I don't think, and I would say this just to end my clear note, that no matter what we keep doing, no matter what we keep saying, mhm, there's always going to be a magazine or some type of institution that's going to do this because now, we need to do something to save our asses, you know, no matter what. And then none of them's going to change it because they all use the same formula every day, every single day. And I'm going to just leave it as that. So.
All righty. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for sharing. I think we definitely made some great points here, fella. Great points.